On Global TV News Express, Inter-Party Advisory Council advocates unity to deepen democracy in Nigeria. In business, Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission reviews order on performance framework for distribution companies. On the foreign scene, South Korea investigates barrier hits in Jeju air crash. And in sports, Plymouth sack Wayne Rooney after season's dismal start. Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agmofwegbe, reminding our viewers that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nightcomsat. The federal government has been commended for reversing the 5-year ban on mineral exploration activities in Zamfara State. Stakeholders in the mining sector made the commendation in separate interviews in Abuja. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, had recently announced the reversal of the ban on mine exploration in Zamfara, citing significant improvements of security situation in the state following federal government's ban on forms of mining exploration activities in 2019 as a result of alarming reports of banditry and its link to illegal mining. National President, Miners Association of Nigeria, Dele Anyankele, thanked the minister for the move, explaining that the ban deprived government of accruable revenues, stressing that the effectiveness of the move will be determined by the measures put in place to sustain the security recorded in the state. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, has called on Nigerians to unite to deepen democracy and build a better nation for present and future generations. National Chairman of IPAC, Yusuf Mama Dantale, in a statement highlighted the resilience of Nigerians and the urgent need to address key national issues in 2025. The Council also announced plans to intensify its roundtable discussions, bringing together stakeholders and experts to address critical national issues and propose solutions to deepen democracy, pledging to continue leading efforts to ensuring good governance, hold leaders accountable, and promote sustainable development. IPAC further reiterated its call for the scrapping of state independent electoral commissions, which have undermined credible local government elections, as it urged the empowerment of INEC to conduct all elections across the country. The Federal Capital Territory FCT Police Command has arrested a 33-year-old man, Obina Nwigwe, for allegedly shooting his friend Andrew Philemon during a heated argument in Buari. FCT Police Public Relations Officer SP Josephine Ade confirmed the incident in a statement, describing it as a disturbing case of violent crime. According to the statement, the incident occurred on 26 December 2024 when police officers responded to a distress call about gunfire, and upon arriving at the scene, they found 29-year-old Philemon critically injured from a gunshot wound. Nwigwe, armed with a pump-action rifle, claimed the shooting was in self-defense. After the argument escalated, but the search by the police uncovered a cache of weapons, including 5 Dane guns, 1 English-made single-barrel gun, an AK-47 magazine containing 29 rounds of 7.62 live ammunition, 4 live cartridges, 17 spent cartridges, a bow with arrows, various knives, a sword stick, a toy gun, a taser, a bulletproof jacket, and multiple sets of police uniforms and boots. Ade noted that the Philemon is currently receiving treatment at the National Hospital in Abuja, while Nwigwe remains in custody pending conclusion of investigations, as it reiterated its commitment to tackling violent crime and ensuring the safety of residents. The Military High Command says wanted and notorious terrorist commander Bello Turji, who recently threatened to attack some communities in Zamfara State unless his brother and others arrested by troops are released, is a dead man walking. This is as the military disclosed that those disputing the military's precision bombing of the Lakurawa terrorist enclaves, killing their members and collaborators, are engaging in terrorist propaganda. Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, who made this known, said from January to December 2024, over 1,000 terrorist leaders and commanders, as well as their replacements, have been eliminated in operations. He said the assurance had been given that fate awaits others, including Bello 3G. The federal government has expressed readiness to engage in dialogue with Niger Republic following recent statement by the country's National Council President Abdurrahmani Chani. This is contained in a statement by Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tuga. Tuga said Nigeria opted for dialogue as the foundation for sustainable solutions and will not take any actions that undermine Niger's sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity by ECOWAS principles. The minister reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to peace and stability in West Africa, noting that Nigeria and Niger, as neighboring countries and brothers, share deep historical, cultural, and economic ties. Tuga also extended the invitation to Niger's leaders to engage in constructive dialogue to address shared mutual concerns, urging national and international partners to support the reconciliation and stability efforts instead of exacerbating divisions. The Nigeria Customs Service has seized 12 containers laden with illicit drugs with duty-paid value of 20.3 billion naira at the Onne port in Rivers State. The Customs Area 2 Controller, Mohammed Baba Dende, stated this while briefing newsmen at Onne. He said the drugs contained 1,721,000 bottles of 100 milliliters of cough syrup codeine, 510,000 tablets of 50 milligrams really extra diclofenac, and 7.1 million tablets of 225 milligrams Royal Apple Tramadol and Tramaking. Babadende stated that 3,461 pieces of sanitary wear fittings, 840 pieces of chili cutter, and 153 cartons of TVS rubber were used to conceal the illicit drugs in the 12 containers, noting that the command generated a total of revenue of 634 billion naira as of December 31, 2024, which is higher than 618 billion revenue target given to it for the year. Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodimma, has signed the 2025 appropriation bill into law, marking a significant milestone in the state's fiscal journey into the coming year. The bill, which was initially presented in December 2024 with an allocation of 755.6 billion naira, was revised and approved at 807 billion naira by Imo State House of Assembly during a special sitting. This adjustment, according to the House, reflects the state's development priorities. Global Television correspondent Amarachi Ibe reports from Government House in Owerri.
The presentation of the revised 2025 appropriation bill by the Speaker of Imo State House of Assembly, Chike Olemgbe, along with other lawmakers, set the stage for Governor Hope Uzodimma to formally sign it into law. The bill's increment to 800 billion, as explained by the House Committee on Budget and Appropriation, aims to address the critical development needs of Imo State. The Speaker of the House, Chike Olemgbe, reaffirmed the Assembly's support for the governor, emphasizing the need for collaboration to drive economic growth.
On this premise, the House amended the total capital expenditure to now reach 694 billion 786,041,220 naira, bringing the total budget to 807,888,041,220 naira.
With the 2025 appropriation bill now signed into law, attention shifts to its implementation. Early rollout of projects and programs is expected to ensure the state meets its development targets for the year.
So with a total budget of 807 billion for the year 2025, it means that the opportunity for growth, the opportunity for prosperity, and the opportunity to create and bring into reality the new Imo State is by the corner.
From the Imo State Government House, Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Well, thank you, Amarachi, for your reporting from Owerri, Imo State capital. Let's turn to other stories for you. The latest report from the United Nations, as estimated by Worldometer, has predicted the population of Nigeria to reach 237,527,782 by the year 2025, an increase of 235,072,204 from the population recorded as of December this year. The data also disclosed an increase of over 4 million population in the country between 2023 and 2024. According to the report, Nigeria ranks 6th in the list of countries and dependencies with population equivalent to 2.85% of the total world population. Arewa Consultative Forum ACF has described the Christmas Day military airstrike that occurred into communities within the Silame local government area of Sokoto State as an incident one far too many. Following the incident, the forum urged the military to reevaluate its strategies and tactics in addressing the insecurity plaguing both the north and the entire country. In a statement issued in Kaduna by its National Publicity Secretary, Tukur Muhammad Baba, the ACF expressed its concerns over an attempt by the military to deny the killing of civilians by the defense spokesman in the aftermath of the incident. Hence, the forum is insisting that compensation be paid to those who suffered death and injuries in line with Islamic legal principles and injunctions in the community. The international rights organization Amnesty International has accused the military of trying to cover up the killing of citizens in Sokoto communities. The military had on December 25 carried out operations targeting the Lakorawa terrorists in Gedansama and Rumuntuwa communities in Silame local government area of Sokoto State, which led to the death of no fewer than 10 citizens. Defense headquarters had said the citizens were killed by a secondary explosion from the logistic base of the Lakorawa terrorist group. However, speaking in an interview on the Sokoto incident, Country Director Amnesty International Isa Sanusi asked the military to submit details and records relating to the airstrike to the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation for an independent investigation. Sanusi described the defense by the military as a disregard for the lives of those killed, calling on President Tinubu to set up an inquiry to probe the incident and ensure those responsible are brought to book. In another development, Indonesian ambassador to Nigeria and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, Usra Harabab, says both countries share similar defense and security experiences and interests, even as they are working closely to deepen collaboration against terrorism. The ambassador, who is a retired Air Vice Marshal in the Indonesian military, said this in an interview in Abuja, noting that within 6 years of his duty tour in Nigeria and ECOWAS, he had deployed his military experiences to bear on ensuring that Indonesia's diplomatic and military engagements were rooted in the sub-region. This is Global Television. You're watching the live broadcast of News Express coming to you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. When News Express returns shortly, pre-flight checks found no issues before South Korea air crash. We have those details as well as business and sports stories for you right after this break. Please don't go away. Thank you for staying with us. Now, let's bring you some business stories. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, says it has updated its performance monitoring framework for electricity distribution companies, DISCOs. The Commission, in a statement, said the updated framework will go into effect in the first quarter of 2025 and is described in Addendum 1 to the order on the performance monitoring framework. The NERC said the order will ensure compliance with the key performance indicators, KPIs, which include accountability by the DISCO's management, increased operational performance, improved energy delivery to customers, and customer satisfaction. The Commission, however, noted it shall issue ratification directives for all compliance issues for the 3 affected KPIs for the 3rd and 4th quarter of 2024, and that the updated enforcement framework contained in Addendum 1 shall be applied from the 1st quarter of next year. Oil marketers and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority say the prices of refined petroleum products are to drop further following the commencement of operations at the Warri Refining and Petrochemicals Company Limited. Dealers in the downstream oil sector said competition in the space would now be stiffer as domestic refiners would be forced to reduce prices to get buyers. Oil marketers stated this following the announcement by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited that the 125,000 barrels per day Warri Refinery had commenced operations. The NNPCL also announced plans to begin the export of locally refined products to strengthen countries in exchange for foreign currency. The Nigerian Navy says it is committed towards ensuring that the nation's daily crude oil production increases from 1.8 million barrels to 3 million barrels by December 2025, in line with the directive of President Bola Tinubu. Speaking at the flag-off ceremony of Operation Delta Sanity 2 in Port Harcourt, Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, said the directive of the President must be achieved, noting that since the launch of Operation Delta Sanity, it has curbed crude oil theft, illegal bunkering, and pipeline vandalism, stressing that the nation's daily crude oil production has increased from 1.4 million barrels to 1.8 million barrels per day. The Chief of the Naval Staff also noted that plans are on the way to achieve and surpass the daily production of 3 million barrels. The federal and state governments have been urged to prioritize large-scale rice cultivation as a strategic move to strengthening the naira and reducing dependence on importation. The senator representing Osun East, Adenigba Fadaunsi, speaking in Ilesha, Ijesa, during the distribution of 3,000 bags of rice to various groups across the 10 local government areas in his senatorial district, emphasized the economic and social benefits of boosting local rice production. According to him, meeting the nation's rice consumption demand locally would cut down the foreign exchange spent annually on importation, thereby shielding the naira from further depreciation. Now let's go foreign on the news. Beijing has hit back at accusations that a China state-sponsored actor was behind a cyber breach at the United States Treasury Department, calling the claims groundless. The Treasury, according to a letter to Congress, said the attack resulted in access to some of its workstations. According to the Treasury, the incident happened earlier in the month of December when the actor compromised a third-party cybersecurity service provider and could remotely access the workstations and some unclassified documents. China denied the claims, with the Foreign Ministry saying Beijing has always opposed all forms of hacker attacks, stressing that the country is even more opposed to spreading false information against it for political purposes. And still in Asia now, South Korean authorities have disclosed that they are investigating the role of a concrete barrier at the end of Muan Airport's runway in the country's worst air disaster, which killed 179 people as a Jeju Air jet crashed on landing. Officials say U.S. investigators, including from Boeing, were at the crash sites in southwestern Muan as South Korean authorities began assessing 2 black boxes retrieved from the burned-out wreckage of the aircraft. The plane was carrying out 181 people from Thailand to South Korea when it made a media call and barely landed before hitting the barrier and bursting into flames, killing everyone on board except 2 flight attendants pulled from the burning wreckage. Acting President Choi Sang-mok, who has only been in office for a few days now, said the accident was a turning point for the country, calling for a full overhaul of air safety systems and urging officials to thoroughly re-examine the overall aircraft operation system and immediately address any necessary improvements. Meanwhile, a pre-flight inspection of a Jeju Air passenger plane hours before it crashed in South Korea, killing 179 people, found no issues. The airline says nothing abnormal was noted with the landing gear. The airline CEO, Kim Yi-bae, told a news conference in Seoul as investigations continue into why the wheels were not down when it performed an emergency landing. Investigators are still working to identify victims and establish what caused South Korea's deadliest ever air crash. Reports say South Sudan plans to resume pumping crude oil it hopes to export after fighting in neighboring Sudan ruptured a key pipeline earlier this year. The landlocked and impoverished country's vital oil had been shipped to global markets from Port Sudan on the Red Sea, with Khartoum taking a cut as a transit fee where the pipeline was damaged in February clashes between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, dramatically relenting and denting the young nation's economy. Director General for Petroleum Authority, Hon John Akot, said in a letter dated December 19 to the president of Dow Petroleum Cooperating Company that the Ministry of Petroleum is declaring the 30th December 2024 as the official kickoff date for the resumption of production operations in Block 3 and 7. Whatever that means, but let's turn to sports now. We begin with tennis, where world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka has opened her season with a 6-4, 6-0 thrashing of Renata Zarazua at the Brisbane International. After receiving a bye for the first round, it took Sabalenka just 63 minutes to beat Mexico's Zarazua and set up a third-round contest against Kazakhstan's Yulia Putintseva. Sabalenka starts the year as the top-ranked player for the first time in her career after winning the US Open in September. The Belarusian is aiming to win her third straight Australian Open in January, but says she is not concerned about the weight of expectation that is upon her. In tennis, Wimbledon doubles finalist Gabriela Dabrowski has revealed she had breast cancer surgery earlier this year, undergoing further treatment while she challenged for the sport's biggest prizes. The 32-year-old Canadian, who is a 3-time major champion, was diagnosed in April. She wrote on Instagram that it is a privilege to be able to call herself a survivor. After 2 surgeries and a 3-month break from the WTA Tour, she returned to Nottingham Grass Court title alongside New Zealand's Erin Routliffe in her first tournament back. And now time to talk football. Former Manchester United star Wayne Rooney has stepped down as Plymouth manager after just 7 months in charge of the Championship strugglers following a dismal 9-match winless streak. Plymouth announced the decision, confirming that Rooney's departure is a mutual agreement with the club's board. Rooney's managerial career, which has seen him helm Derby County and DC United, now faces another setback as his tenure at Plymouth ends just months after his summer appointment. Plymouth sit 4 points from safety after winning just 4 times and losing 13 of their 23 league games following Rooney's appointment in May. And now, time to end News Express on Global Television, but first off, we'll bring you a summary of the bulletin. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, has called on Nigerians to unite to deepen democracy and build a better nation for present and future generations. In business, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has updated its performance monitoring framework for electricity distribution companies, DISCOs. On the foreign scene, South Korean authorities have disclosed that they are investigating the role of a concrete barrier at the end of one airport runway in the country's worst air disaster, which killed 179 people as a Jeju air jet crashed on landing. And finally, in sport, I told you former Manchester United star Wayne Rooney has stepped down as Plymouth manager after just 7 months in charge of the Championship strugglers following a dismal 9-match winless streak. And that's a wrap on Global Television's News Express. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times 276, and free to air on Nightcomsat. As always, we encourage all of our viewers across the world to subscribe and engage with us across social media platforms using Global TV NG, as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. I am Uyi Agmofwebe. Thank you for watching. We will see you again.